And we're going. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking. Um, so we are conducting our Honors 199, Section 880 interview. We are going to be reflecting on our fall semester in this course and how we will be, what we have learned in the past and how that will help us in the future.
Yep.
So, if you would please state your name, your major, your year, and where you're from, please.
All right. My name is Nia Denman. I am a freshman at Ball State University. My major is interior design. And what was the last question?
Where you're
Oh, where
from.
I'm from? I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah.
Fun, fun, fun. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Um, I think one question I'd like to ask is how did you end up in this course?
It was actually similar to you. I was doing my um picking out my courses and my counselor wasn't available and Dr. Bartlett was available to do my counseling or my courses and he suggested this class and he made it sound really fun and interesting, so I took it and I was not disappointed, and it also matched up with a lot of my other courses because I do have a lot of credit hours, so it was kind of pushing everything in the right time slots and stuff. But yeah, so that's how I came about this course.
Before taking the class, what did you expect coming in?
I honestly expected I expected basically everything that I got out of it. Like I just expected us to have lots of conversations about race and racism, anti-racism, everything in between, and that's definitely what we did. So I really was not surprised. I mean, it was really interesting to learn about everything, but I felt like everything we did talk about, I felt like we were going to talk about. Um, but coming in, I did expect more people of color to be in the class, but since it's an honors course, I kind of understood there's not that many people of color in the honors college anyway. So, but yeah, so that was kind of interesting to see the proportion from people of color to white people in the course.
I totally had that as well. Like, I
Yeah.
remember the first day of class going in, I was like, oh, okay.
Right. I was like, oh, okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, thank you for sharing that.
No
It's good to
problem.
know. Good to know how you felt. Um, so I guess that leads into actually taking the course. So you did say that your expectations were met, which that's a thumbs up. That's good.
That was
Um,
yeah.
so let's see. So going back to well, let's go back to your background. So
Mhm.
you said that you were from did you say you're from Indianapolis?
Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah.
Um how what's the like the social climate like in Indianapolis? Is it diverse? Is it not?
It's really interesting because everyone that when I talk to my friends, we're all like, we live in Indianapolis, not Indiana. Because those are like seen as two different places because Indianapolis is so diverse and like liberal and everything. But then once you get outside of the city, it's so different. Like it's so I don't understand how it can just be the flip side right when you get across the border. Like right when you probably even go just a little bit north of Indy, it's just the border is just totally different. Like inside Indianapolis, it's very I don't know, everyone's very accepting, just very polite to each other, very, I don't know, very Democrat, liberal, everything like that. And so, yeah, I think that's mostly what I grew up around. But at the same time, I went to a lot of schools that were majority white. So I had that kind of extra, like I saw that the other side of things, like, oh, I live in a very diverse city, but at the same time, I live around a lot of people or go to school with a lot of people who don't look the same as me. So I guess that's what the climate looks like. But
and with your background, like as you said, going to school with people who don't look like you, but living in a very democratic environment, where did that background, like, did you see or did you experience anything of the same, like, did you experience the same thing when you got to Ball State?
I would say, yeah, I think I did because Ball State is like majority white. It's a PWI, predominantly white institution. So I was definitely expecting there to be a majority of white people. And my dad, he went to Ball State, and my mother went to Ball State as well. So they kind of explained that to me, like, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of white people around or be in class with a lot of white people, especially with my major, because there's not a lot of people of color in interior design. So yeah, I was definitely expecting that. And I feel like my background with going to a lot of schools that are majority white helped me prepare for that. So I wasn't in like a culture shock, like, where's the black people at? Like, I kind of expected that because that's just how I grew up anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt as well. Like, just coming onto campus, like, were you able to, like, visit campus before coming?
I was, yeah. I've been to campus a few times before with my family, but I kind of still had to get used to where things were in campus because I didn't really know everything about where things were. And plus, there was a lot of construction, so
Mm.
things were changing and everything. But yeah, I have been to Ball State a few times since it's just like 30 to an hour from where I live. So,
Oh, okay. Um,
yeah.
Different from me. I was
Yeah.
gonna go visit, I think, in April, and then that was
hmm
when they shut down. I was like,
Oh,
ooh,
ooh.
looks like we don't yeah, looks like we
Right.
don't get to
Virtual
visit
tour,
campus.
virtual tour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. So before going, I didn't know what it was gonna be like. I knew it was in the middle of Indiana.
hmm
The only thing I knew was that the Department of Theater and Dance, which is um the department that I'm in, they said that I've heard that they are more diverse than the school. And
Oh,
I was like, okay, so what does that say about about the college?
the
Um,
school isn't that diverse.
yeah. But as I was driving around, seeing like a bunch of Biden Harris signs, and
hmm
saying pro-choice, seeing all those signs, I was like, wow, this is like, I'm very lucky to be in this environment. It seems like Ball State is its own world, you know? And
Yeah,
then
it's
like
like Ball State, and then there's Muncie.
it's like,
Just
yeah,
how
it's
there's
Ball
like,
State, the
yeah,
village, and
hmm
then after that, and downtown.
yeah, there's
And then
downtown.
yeah, and then after that, it's just like plains. It's just like
Right. It's just like,
cornfields.
yeah,
Like,
that's
you're in
all
the
it
conservative Indiana that we all talk
is.
about. Um,
hmm You're in
yeah,
Indiana, and that's
exactly.
like.
Exactly. So, yeah, for me, I share the same experience as you, coming to this campus, um, and being in a democratic, or in a more liberal,
Yeah.
being in a more liberal environment. However, sharing that environment with people that don't have the same, don't look like me. So yeah,
Yeah,
I totally get
definitely.
that. Um, so getting into some more serious talk.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced or witnessed any racism in your life?
Yes, that's there are a lot of different
And if there's any experiences that are too tough that or they do not want to talk about, like I totally understand.
well, thank you. Thank you. But I feel like I've definitely had a lot of racist experiences, but some of them I didn't understand until I was older, or they weren't as bad as other people they could have been for other people, you know. So like I've definitely been in interesting situations. I'm trying to think of one that I could talk about. um, oh my gosh, this is kind of a silly one, but I didn't understand what was going on when I was a kid because I didn't really understand. So I was in like middle school, and at my middle school there was like an aftercare thing that we would go to. We would hang out in the gym and everything if our parents couldn't pick us up. Since we didn't have buses to take us home, it was a private school. So, but we was in like aftercare, and then this one girl, I don't even remember what her name was. I was just hanging out with my friends, and I had like braids in my hair or whatever, like weave. And this girl came up to us and she was like, "Is that your hair?" And I was like, "No, girl, it's not my hair." And then she was like, "Well, how do you put it in?" And I was like, "Well, there's like different types of ways to put." I was trying to inform her like how there's different types of weaves to put in your hair and stuff. And I was like, "Yeah, this is just braided in." And she was like, "Oh my gosh." And then I was telling her about like sew-ins and wigs and stuff. And she was like, "What? Do you just glue it to your scalp?" And I was like, "No, why would you glue something to your hair? Like, it's just gonna make it fall out." And she was like, "Oh my gosh." And then she kept telling her friends, she was like, "They glue horsehair to their head. Oh my gosh." And I was like, "No, we don't. What did I just tell you?" And so
Yeah.
that was just a really, I mean, I was just like with my friends, so we kind of joked it off. We was like, "She's stupid" or whatever. But it was really like when I thought about it, I was like, "Oh, that was really racist." Or it could have been not even a microaggression. That was just blatantly like
That was
like
blatantly
racist.
disrespectful.
Like I was like, hold on. But yeah. Um and then I told this one story in class about when we were talking about like microaggressions. And one of my teachers, she was taking me home, and then we rolled into like my neighborhood, which is just like a regular middle class suburban neighborhood, kind of like almost outside of Indianapolis. And then we rolled in, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you look like your house is, this looks like the same as my neighborhood." And I was like, she was white teacher. And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." I was like, I just said thank you because I didn't know what to say. So I was just like, "Yeah, thanks." But then I told my mom, and she was like, "That's not okay. Why does she think you live somewhere like that maybe wasn't as nice or something just because you were Black?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't understand what she was saying." So yeah, I think a lot of my experiences I didn't really understand until after the facts, you know. So I was trying to think
Hmm.
about experiences that were racist, but and then I would have like instances where I don't think I really, my parents, you know how people say like some Black parents, they'll have a talk with their kids about like race and like, you know, if a police officer stops you and things like that. But I feel like I never really had to have that conversation with my parents because I feel like I just learned it through experience. I don't know. Like I was just very good at like kind of seeing what was going on and be like, okay, I shouldn't do that because this is how I look. I probably shouldn't do that because of this. Or maybe they can do that, but I feel like I shouldn't. I don't think I can do the certain things that other people might be able to do. So I don't know. It's just, yeah, that was a lot, but but yeah, that's
No, yeah. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And I think it's good that you can look back on them and on some of them, um,
mhm,
and kind of just laugh it off.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, I think it's important that for us to like see that some of the things that we say are hurtful to others and could like
mhm,
like, you know, really damage like our emotions and like definitely like put us in a really bad mental state. But thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Going back to what you were saying, talking about how you didn't really like when you were younger, you said that you didn't really see it, or not see it, but like you didn't really know what it was at the beginning.
Yeah.
Did you always like as you were growing up, like if you try to remember,
Yeah.
did you ever really think about race growing up?
Um, hmm. Growing up, I'm really looking out my window because I've lived at the same house since I was like 2. So most of my relations with race revolved around like this little cul-de-sac I lived in because
Mm-hmm.
we see people move in and move out and all this stuff. So I think one of the first times I really recognized race was when I was playing with my friends, and it was like one of the people that lived like next to me and my friend, and I was like, I don't know. I was just like, okay, so most of these people on the street are black, but they're white. Like I was like, I don't know. I was just thinking like they look different than we do and stuff like that. Not really just putting like them in a bad view, but just saying there's a lot of people that look like me, but then there's like somebody that doesn't look like me down there. And then they moved out. But then a black person moved in. So then now everyone looks like us. I don't know. So I was just like thinking of it in that way. Like when I was a kid, I guess when you think about race when you're growing up, you just think someone looks different than you. And then when you grow up, you get to the deeper parts like, oh, they look different than me. So this is this and that is that. And it's more of like kind of rules in society. But when I was growing up, I was just, okay, they look different. I think I don't know, but that's really one of my earliest, I guess, examples. Or even, I do have another example, or even when I was, again, playing outside with my friends. And I noticed I used to play with a lot of Barbie dolls. And I noticed, like, when we go shopping for Barbie dolls, there was really not that many Black Barbie dolls. It was probably like 1 or 2. Or even when I wanted an American Girl doll that I never got, and I was so mad about that. I was like, Mom, I want an American Girl doll. But we went to Chicago, and like there was only like 2 to 4 American Girl dolls that were like Black. And I was like, I don't like this. So that was probably another example of being like, dang, why don't they have people like why don't they have dolls that look like me that I can play with? Why do I always have to play with a doll that's like blonde hair and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really I'm like first of all like congrats on like remembering all of that. I mean I must have it must be
Like the
really
more I was
tough like
talking, the more I was remembering. Yeah.
yeah, I totally get that. So like I guess like what I'm hearing is that you were kind of like you had race in the back of your mind when you were going through some of your life experiences, but it wasn't very like prominent
Right.
until like maybe like a couple years ago when it like
Maybe until like right before high school. And it
mm,
started getting like deep because then I started paying attention to politics, especially Barack Obama. I was
mm,
like, first Black president. Like that happened when I was kind of in middle school. And then I started like really understanding like race and politics. So when I was in like elementary school, I was just like, okay, they're different. Maybe there was some microaggressions that happened to me, but I didn't really understand them at the time, or like racist things that happened to me. But then when I got to middle school and high school, I was like, oh, okay, I understand like how I'm viewed in this world now. You know what I'm saying? So,
mm-hmm.
but yeah.
um when you started like paying attention to politics more, did you notice yourself thinking about race and like or like putting yourself in like that mindset of like, oh, this is this is what I will experience, and I have to like did you feel like you had to mentally prepare yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Especially with seeing the transition between Barack Obama and Donald Trump, and even just Barack Obama being in office, and how like a lot of my peers and family members just like adored him and everything. And I was just so sad to see him leave. And then I was really understanding, like I started to see like, how did we go from Barack Obama to like Donald Trump, like such a different person in office? And I'm like, what does that say about like our society, or what does that say, like how moving forward am I going to see like myself? I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's like it's like, because I never really I really just do things as being a person of color. Like I just do things automatically without having to think about them now. So it's really hard to like talk about what I do, because it's like it's just like an instinct. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
No, I totally get it.
yeah. So
It's totally okay.
I really don't know. It's just like when I like just do things in the world, I automatically just not prepare for the worst, but just automatically say, okay, if I go into this conference or something with all these white people, they're either probably just gonna stare or look at me for a second, like, okay, a Black person, like I can get used to that because I've had to deal with that a lot. Or maybe like when I was in school, a lot of times when we were talking about race, I was not explicitly expected to say something, but I could definitely tell, since I was in the class and like one of the only Black people, they wanted to hear what I had to say, even if I didn't want to say anything, you know? So it's kind of like what Professor Bartlett was saying, like a lot of times in those situations, I don't feel like just an individual. I feel like I'm just a Black person that has to speak for everyone. And so I have to like mentally prepare for that in a lot of scenarios in my life, especially with like in school and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I noticed myself saying thank you a lot, but like a
No,
serious
you're
yes.
fine.
Like thank you for sharing your experience. Um I don't know. I guess I don't know if it's good for me to be saying this, but um I could imagine what you go through of having to like really really think like, okay, I'm going to be with people that might not like that have might not seen me before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Right.
but we talked about this before. At my old summer intensive in Colorado, one of the people that was in there um told my friend who was Black that he was the first Black guy he'd ever seen before. Um
Wow.
yeah. So um
That's interesting.
yeah, so it really is. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, which I don't know, I I don't know if this is, I don't know, but you're very strong.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um hopefully that wasn't an offense.
No.
But yeah, I love getting to know you so much. Like this is so fun.
Yeah.
And just like sharing our experiences together, I just like think that like we're learning more about how to treat other people, or like just like learning each other's experiences. Like that's
Hmm.
I just love
Yeah.
talking to you. But yeah,
And I feel like with this interview has helped me think back about like my experiences, because if you as you can see, it's kind of difficult for me to think back on them because I've never really had to. They just go like, okay, that happened and now I'm moving on to something else. But now I have to actually like sit and think about, oh, this is something racial that has happened to me. and stuff like that. Like I really never had to sit and think about that before. I just know that I have to just keep, living life. So that's just really what it is. I feel like thank you for saying that like I'm a strong person and everything, but for me it's just like kind of, and it wasn't offensive, I promise it wasn't.
Okay.
And but for me it's kind of interesting hearing that too, because I know that I'm definitely have some privileged aspects as being a person of color and like middle class. Like I've never had to struggle really for anything. So it's like it's really interesting to see that aspect of like when you like calling me strong and everything. I just feel like I just have to, like I've just always known like, okay, I'm just a Black person and this is how it is and this is what it's gonna be. And then it's just I just keep living, just keep going, because it's really nothing I can do about it right now except for just, tell people my experiences. So
Yeah.
but thank you for that.
Um, so we're gonna go into our next section. As you were saying, you said that there were times where you felt like you'd have to like mentally prepare yourself, and talking about how like sometimes when you're in the classroom, like you're like the designated Black person, like you have to like educate everybody, and how like that's not very helpful for your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Did you experience any of that during like the events of 2020, during like the uprising activism, during the elections, or like any other current events? Did you see yourself having to educate non-Black students about situations that are happening towards the Black community, the BIPOC community, the LGBTQ plus community,
Right.
any of the marginalized groups in general?
Mm-hmm. I feel like me trying to educate people was really just like posting on Instagram and really trying to get people to understand things that were happening. So just getting people informed. And also, I didn't really know everything. So I was trying to get informed by other people. And when I got informed about something, I just keep passing it on, because that's how I was trying to do things. Since I couldn't really get out of the house and everything, I was just trying to get myself informed and then get other people informed. So that was was there another part of that question?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I think it's
okay.
like,
Well,
yeah. Just
I
yeah,
felt
you
like
could
there
just
was
like
like
talk
two
about
points.
how that like how that affected you.
Yeah, well, being like definitely like living through this year has been hard in a lot of different aspects. So I feel like during the time with the Black Lives Matter movement and everything, I think it was just really, I don't know. It was really emotional. So I had to kind of just, I mean, yeah, it was really emotional. So I had to just like get people informed. But at the same time, I was just like, I don't know, like I was just really hurt that like these things were happening and not a lot of stuff was like, not a lot of things were happening for it to be resolved and everything. Like it just seemed like a lot of chaos and a lot of just hurt, like everyone was just hurting with like the pandemic and everything else going on. And then on top of that, like people were just getting killed in the streets and everything like that. It was just a lot. And so then I felt like when people were talking about like the riots and everything that was happening, I kind of saw like both sides of it, because at one point I was like, they shouldn't be like, throwing stuff at people's windows and like stealing everything and burning stuff down. Like, who are we? And then at the same time, I was like, well, if they're not going to listen to us peacefully protesting and they're going to try to like, you know, throw the gas bombs or the smoke, what are those called? Smoke bombs, gas bombs, like the eye gas. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm stupid. Okay.
Um, Tear gas.
tear gas. Yes, the tear gas. And they were doing that, and people were just peacefully protesting. And like, it seemed like nothing was getting anywhere. So I kind of understood, like, the only time that people listen to like people that are like marginalized groups and everything is when something horrible like happens, or like when people start rioting, because that's like, I guess we try all the time to have peaceful protests, but people want to focus on the bad things that are happening. But at the same time, it's like the like society keeps pushing us and pushing us and pushing us. And then I felt like that was just a breaking point for a lot of Black people. Like, you guys need to understand, and this is how we're going to say it, you know? But, you know, people shouldn't be, you know, looting and everything. But at the same time, I understand, because it seems like we're just never really heard until we just, you know, scream like that. It's kind of like a kid. Like, you really don't listen to a kid if they just keep talking to you softly. You really start listening to them when they're like throwing a tantrum on the floor in a like grocery store. like that's when you're like, okay, we need to do something about this right now. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
how
I
I feel
totally
about
see that.
That's definitely, yeah.
I know it's just a lot.
It is.
Um,
It is a lot. And especially, I just really felt emotional about Breonna Taylor, because it's like, wow, Black women really just are really low on the totem pole. You know what I'm saying? Like, people listen to us the least. And it's really hurtful, because I feel like Black women are so like loving and caring and give so much of themselves to the cause. And then people just bash us like for nothing. That's just really hurtful to me, because it's like, dang, we're really trying so hard. But then other people are saying, oh, you shouldn't be here, or you shouldn't be speaking. This is in your place and stuff like that. Like, that's just really, or you don't matter as much as a Black man getting killed. Like, it's still a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's all I have to say about that. So
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I really think it's very interesting to hear about Black women in society. They're just as important as any other person in our society, except like they're not seen as that way, which is beyond me.
yeah, but I just don't understand it.
Exactly. For me, just for me, I feel like I respect everybody equally. I see everybody like, which I don't mean that in like the sort of like I don't see color, like
Oh my gosh.
like it's not like it's not in that type of way. It's like I see you, like I'm connected to you, you know,
Yeah, like an
on that.
understanding.
Yeah, like I understand, and like I see you in the world, like that type of
Got you.
understanding.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just like hearing how that must be like very damaging to people in your community, and like and like around the world, like it just like this,
Oh yeah,
like
definitely
the
around
things
the world.
that you are saying right now, and the things that like we're talking about, like these need to be heard. Yeah, I just feel like what the things that you were saying are have like true, like I could feel like the emotion when you speak, and like just hearing that like things have to change is because like what we said, like just the way people are treated, like it could be damaging
Definitely.
to like
Yeah.
our mental health, or like the human psyche. So
yeah.
so yeah. There's a lot of change, coming.
It's a lot of change going on. It's a lot.
Exactly. So bringing it back to our little Ball State community, um, how would you describe the race relations and the racial issues at Ball State?
I would describe them. I would describe Ball State's race relations or whatever. I would describe them as basically being kind of responsive. Like, I feel like Ball State doesn't really do a lot for like anything, not anything, but many things race related unless something happens, which I feel like happens in a lot of places, like a lot of institutions or the government in general doesn't do much unless somebody says something or somebody saying, oh, this is happening, so you need to talk about this. So I feel like that's what's happening right now, especially with like the election and what happened in the summer, Black Lives Matter and everything, like the Trump caravans and all that. Like, they're starting to say more stuff, but I feel like before, well, I don't know. Yeah, before it was kind of just like, okay, well, we need diversity. And that was kind of all I was hearing about that. Or I heard about, was that last year where the man got
The black
arrested?
student got arrested because of
Yeah.
the white teacher. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they'll only say stuff when something racist happens, I feel like. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't been here long enough, but that's all I've seen so far. And that's what I feel like, because especially with like after the election and all the Trump trucks riding through campus, now there's like a lot of like talks happening. Like, I don't know, there's just a lot of like the faculty wanting to talk to the students, which is like, I don't know, I feel like that's a good step, but it's like, why couldn't we talk about race stuff before there was a bunch of Trump trucks like driving through campus? Like, like was there, like, they're acting like there was nothing to say before then, I guess. No, I don't really understand yeah.
I feel like we are revisiting a theme in one of our and one of the classes that we had, where we were talking to anti-racist educators and programs that outreach programs that go to schools after they hear about a racial incident that happened on campus. And what you were saying is like what all the is what the program the head of the programs, like what they are talking about, which is why we shouldn't have to wait until something happens at the school that damages the students' mental health and makes them rise up and feel like they have to take control.
Right. Like, there should already be things in place to have conversations, even about just small stuff like microaggressions could be talked about on a weekly basis. Like, I feel like there should always be, or a monthly basis, there should be some type of space to talk about things happening on campus, whether it be in class, off campus, or whatever. If a student wants to say something. Yeah.
Exactly. Before I continue, because like this is actually really good. I want to also hear your thoughts. Like, I'm pretty sure I got them already, but just want to like hear them. Do you think Ball State's doing a good job creating a culture of belonging?
Of belonging, I think yes, because I feel like even though there are a lot of people, especially in the honors college specifically, that don't look like me, I feel like it's like a friendly space to be in. It's not like people are like hateful here. So I'm definitely glad about that. Like, I can still be comfortable talking to my I was gonna say coworkers. No, my classmates. My classmates, I feel really comfortable talking to like my classmates that may be white or different other races and everything, because it's just like a really nice campus to get to know people. Is very small. So I think it's, even with COVID, I still found some people that I could like be friends with and everything. So yeah, I think Ball State is good with like being inclusive, as in people are just really welcoming to each other. But I do think, especially in the honors college, there needs to be more people of color in general, even though they are really nice and helpful and kind and everything. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Um, I'm trying to think of what I wanted to say.
Yeah, because I think Ball State, they're just like it's just a really homey feely campus. It's just like we need more people, like more diversity. But I think like the
Yeah,
inclusion is there. Like the inclusion is there. It's just the diversity that needs to get there.
I totally
Mhm.
feel that. Like, um, I feel like with the different clubs that are on campus,
Mhm.
um, the ones like especially like just in general, I just feel like most of the clubs like um are filled with like people that like that truly feel like there's something that need like there's like change happening, you know? And
Yeah.
then and then there are like other people that like the group is meant for, you know, but like those people don't like they don't attend because they're just
Mhm.
like, well, the issue is not happening to me right now, or like I don't really feel affected. Um, which
Right.
I feel like we should all just like just go, you know? Like
Right.
have these conversations.
Yeah.
I feel like the conversation that we're having right now, like I feel like that these are like the type of conversations that the other clubs that are on campus like they like I feel like I expect that they're having these types of conversations like the way that we're like
Yeah.
that like the way that we're having like the way the way we're doing this interview. Um
Mhm.
and I think that like if we get more people from more diverse backgrounds to share their experiences, um
Mhm.
like first we should like accept the fact like that these are very emotional journeys that people have gone through,
Mhm.
and like to respect that, the way that I am respecting you right now as
Right.
as I am open to hear if you are willing to share, you know.
Right.
um
Right. Right.
I
I
think
think
some
everyone should
yeah,
definitely think like that. Yes.
yeah, to just like be open to other people's experiences to see how that affected though, and then to go on from there, you know. I feel like those types of clubs like those are their main like that's their main goal, except they're not getting those people, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
um I yeah, so
And also I
one
think a lot
yeah,
of um like minority groups and everything, I feel like sometimes they'll be nervous or hesitant to speak because it can be like a little like intimidating to speak in front of a lot of people. But I
yeah,
mean, I don't know.
yeah, like it goes back to that place where it's like, oh yeah, you've had the experience, like talk about it, and like, well,
Right.
no, it was kind of damaging to me. I don't really want to
Right. Like
share
I don't
that.
even know if I want to go back there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess for example, I'm a part of the Actors for Inclusivity. It's a club for at the Department of Theater and Dance, and it's a
Oh,
club
okay.
that focuses on race and
Hmm.
how actors that are Black, BIPOC, and LGBTQ plus, like those how those actors can thrive um, in a field of work that is mostly geared to white folks. Um,
Right.
I will be honest with you. At first, I didn't attend because I didn't know. Like, I'm like
Yeah, like you don't
my
know.
excuse was because I'm getting used to campus, you know.
Oh yeah,
But
that was a lot of
yeah,
my excuses.
but as I continue taking this course and just thinking about like this is gonna be my life, you know.
Hmm.
Like for example, there's like this musical called Book of Mormon. If you've ever heard of it, good job.
Oh, okay, I've
Um,
never. I mean, I've heard of the Book of Mormon, like the
like the
actual
actual book, yeah.
book, but
Um,
not the
yeah.
musical.
So the musical is so like quick quick synopsis of the story. It's about two Mormon missionaries who are sent to Uganda, Africa. and had to try and convert a whole African tribe. It's supposed to be a satirical comedy musical. It was made by the people who made South Park. So
okay.
it's like it's supposed to be funny. And then I remember like over the summer, like I saw a video of a Black actor speaking out about how Broadway is racist. And at the very end, like, it sounds bad for me to say it, but like it was a shock to hear that the musical Book of Mormon is racist. I was like, really? And I was like, wait, isn't it kind of bad that I didn't even think that the musical was racist? Like, of them making fun of like an African tribe in Uganda. Like, I didn't see how that was uncalled for. But
that kind of reminds me of what I was talking about in English class. This is kind of off topic, but that reminds me of like my professor in my English class. He was talking about like 80s movies and how a lot of teenage 80s movies were very like sexist and racist, and like just overall like the humor was just totally different. Like their humor was to make fun of other people. And so now when you look back on it, like years later, it's like, oh, we probably shouldn't have been making movies about that. But at the time, that's like the movies my parents watched because that's like all they had, you know?
Yeah.
And so at that time, it was funny, but now it's not. So it's kind of like you kind of have to think about it in that point of view too, like the time frame of when it was created and all that stuff, because it could have been a different humor back then. And I bet some of the stuff now that we find as humor could be like not, like could not be taken well, like 20, 30 years from now. I don't know.
This is also kind of off topic, but we'll get back to topic. But like, I forgot what was happening at the time. It was when all the YouTubers were being canceled.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, on TikTok. And like how they were going out with like apology videos. So like, oh yeah, like it was bad that I did blackface like in 2006. Like how you said, like we used to find those things funny because that was what humor was like. But now when those things resurface, and even though those YouTubers changed, like people won't see them the same.
Right.
But like as you were saying, like maybe the things that we're doing could be offensive later. Like there was a joke on TikTok where it's like saying, watch when like POV, or there's like a video, it's like POV, you're watching my apology video after you're watching my apology video when it is announced that making fun of British accents is canceled. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah, like that could be something that's like not okay in like 30 years.
But like that was our humor, you know.
Yeah, I remember we used to do that all the time, just randomly start speaking in British accents. Like,
exactly.
Oh like, what even was that?
I don't know.
That is just crazy.
But going back, after like watching that video and then being in this class, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna attend that club. And that's what we need. Like we need people to like feel that it's okay, like to take your time.
Right.
But at the same time, time's of the essence.
Right. Yes, I totally understand that.
But yeah, I just think
being like a person of color, we can probably kind of feel like obligated to do something for our community, even if we don't feel like it. And I feel like that shouldn't always be that way. Like, I feel like sometimes we don't have to be in every single club for like race or something, stuff like that, you know? And I feel like sometimes I feel obligated to do that, even if that's not really what I want to be doing, you know? Like, it's like, I probably should just find a club that I want to be in, even though this is important. So I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird.
I know. I felt that a little bit last night when I was at the honors talk back, and everyone was sharing their experiences, and I was like, oh, now I feel like I'm obligated to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up not. But it was still a really good experience either way, just to be an observer. That,
Mm-hmm.
like, I just think that's something that we all need to do, like observe how people react or like how people interact with each other.
Yes.
Which follows us to our next section, which is the class in our future. Um, let's see, one question that we that you've asked me, I'd like to
Mhm.
ask you this question. What do you think it means to be anti-racist?
Okay. To be anti-racist, to me, I think being anti-racist means to actively strive towards, like, I don't want to say being anti-racist, but like actively strive to just be a good person to everyone, like just to respect everyone regardless of who they are, what they look like, what they do, anything like that. So
Mhm.
anti-racism could really be put into different, when you think of anti-racism, if you can be anti-racist to someone based off of how they look, you can be anti anything based off who someone is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can, if you want to be anti-racist, you can also not be homophobic, or you could also be like, anything else. If you feel like you can see someone as a person instead of their race, you could see anybody as an individual. So I think that's what being anti-racist is to me, like seeing people as individuals and actively striving to like listen to people and just understand what people go through in society and to try to change. If you feel like you could do better in a certain aspect, or you feel like someone called you out on this, and this can happen to Black people too, like they can definitely be prejudiced towards other groups of people, and you like have to check people like, actually no. So like you just have to work to be better. So yeah, that's what I think.
So, with that definition in mind, and with the things that you have learned, in like throughout the whole semester, um, how
Mhm.
do you think you will walk through life? Like, how do you think your experiences will change, or how do you think your mindset has changed? Do you think like in the future, with what you've learned and with that definition, do you think you'll see life differently?
I definitely think so, because this class has taught me like a lot about myself, and like especially on the units where we were talking about whiteness and like whiteness as a race and white privilege and all this other stuff about being white and how they can feel about race too. I was kind of understanding like, oh, okay, like I have my own struggles, but for me to be like struggling as a Black woman, white people can feel like they're always going to be racist or something. Like they can have that struggle too, with having to be like, I feel like everyone's going to see me as racist because I'm white. And I don't want white people to feel that way. So I feel like I can try to definitely strive towards helping educate when I can, like help educate white people on their privileges and like how that make them kind of feel at ease if it's like really something that they shouldn't be worried about. Because a lot of like my white teachers that I've had and everything, they'll always be asking like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, did I say something? And I'm like, guys, you're totally fine. Like, I'll definitely let you know if I felt offended and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of white people can have that on their shoulders. Like, they always think they're offending a person of color. And that's definitely not true. So I want to strive towards that, like having society not seeing every white person as low key racist, because they're not. So yeah,
That's
because
a
race
lovely
being racist,
message.
yeah, because being racist is something you're taught. You're not born with it. You can be born with privilege, but not being racist. So Yeah.
Very lovely message. Thank you, Nia.
Thanks.
Well, that brings us to the conclusion of our interview. If there's any additional questions or any last statements that you have.
I will say, to wrap it all up, I'll say I definitely learned a lot from this class. I definitely have just learned a lot. That's all I'm saying. Like, I have learned a lot, especially since I'm a very visual, hands-on learner. These discussions have really helped me, because even if I didn't read a chapter, I might not have read some of the chapters, but I still learn something in class every day. So I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, just meeting new people like you, Mitchell. You're awesome. I love talking to you. Like, oh my
Thank
goodness.
you.
But yeah, so that was just really, really great. I felt like we really had a good class as well. Like, our group of people was very nice. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nia. This was I just want to say another big, huge thank you for sharing all of your experiences, for just opening up. And I definitely got to learn more about you. I feel like we definitely have a connection now. Like,
we got a connection now.
we really do. We have like we have
Yeah.
like a bond, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I know that I made a friend today. And
Yes, definitely.
yeah. So yes, thank you again, and have a
Thank you, Mitchell.
yes, have
No,
a
you're
great
fine.
day.
Thank you. You too.